Welcome to the Full Armor of Game podcast, episode number 32, Gaming Women with Attitude. Now, this one was suggested from one of our members in the Players University. If you guys haven't joined the Players University, I don't know what you guys are waiting for. You have two of the best dating coaches, the Texting Prince, the Czar of Dating, and you guys also get to tell us specific topics that you would like us to tackle. And this happens to be one of them. Thank you to the member in the Players University for giving us this topic. This is something that he has been dealing with, and we'll give you several great examples of how to deal with women that are kind of giving you an attitude. They might have their bitch shield up at first, but if you know how to get through that bitch shield, most likely you can sleep with them, fellas. I promise you.
You bring the crowns and heads of conquered kings to my city steps. You insult my queen. You threaten my people with slavery and death. This is Sparta! Sparta! Put on the whole armor of game. This is where we fight! And these shield
First, we want to play a clip from our favorite Adam, Hank motherfucking Moody, the boss
Hank
of all
Moody.
boss players.
From the show Californication. Zara and I mention it a lot. It's a great show if you watch Hank Moody about how he deals with certain scenarios. And in this one, it's how he deals with a difficult woman. And there are different ways you can approach this, but we're going to start with Hank Moody's and just kind of break down what he does here and then get into the meat of the podcast.
He doesn't want to pick her up, but he's trying to do research for this book about this famous musician, and he needs to interview this famous musician's ex, and it happens to be her. But the way he handled it, I want you guys to take notes. If you're going to watch this YouTube video, pay attention. He has that playful, devil-may-care, indifferent attitude that we keep telling you guys about. And pay attention to how he handled her attitude and her shit test.
You excuse me a moment? Sorry.
Sure. Yeah.
He just walks by beautiful
It's
women.
you, isn't it? I made a mess of your bush this morning. That's, shit, that came out wrong. Flowers. She's got this potted flower thing, and I sat on my trip. It was nice talking to you ladies.
Yeah.
Hey, this is a coincidence, because I'm here picking up my daughter, and I got some mail for you.
You do?
Yeah. You are resident, aren't you? But I doubt that you need your carpets cleaned or your drapes. I bet your carpets are immaculate, and I bet the carpets match the
Do you always
drapes.
make this good of a first impression?
Well, it's a second impression. Actually, Hank Moody. And they're only
Adam, pause it for a second.
So I'm just going to let
You guys notice how she called them out? Do you always make this good of a first impression? And what did Hank respond with? Well, actually, it's a second impression, and they're only going to get worse from here on end. So I'm just going to lay my cards out on the table. You see how smooth he is with that? He's going with the flow. Did he try defending himself? Oh, what do you mean this isn't a good first impression? I always do good first impressions. No, he just went with the flow. Oh, they're only going to get worse from here on end. So you better get used to it. That's what women look for. This is how you pass their shit test, fellas. This is what I'm teaching you and Adam is when we tell you guys indifference. Learn to have an indifferent attitude. When in doubt, just go with the flow. Have some lines come up. Have some lines written down so you can prepare yourself for situations like this. Because I wrote this one down too, in case a girl ever says this to me. And it's a perfect line to give right back to her.
Yeah, and also notice too that he's not getting thrown off of his frame. Like Zara mentioned when she said, a good first impression, he just rolls with it. Whatever she says doesn't really affect him. He's not taken aback by that and retreating. He hears it or whatever, but he keeps moving forward. He's not getting thrown off by her energy. And even the way he started it, it shows balls and strength where he started with like a sexual innuendo because he messed up one of her plants outside of her house or something before that. And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I messed up your bush."
I made a mess of your bush this morning. That's, Shit, that came out wrong. Flowers.
Right? That's a sexual innuendo. So it takes balls to say something like that. And that's how he let off. And with difficult women, you still have to have that strength, but you have to be able to push through that icy layer that she's going to throw at you.
Especially in front of her friends. He didn't give a fuck. He said it right in front of her friends, too.
Yeah, exactly.
My car's on the table. Do you know a guy named Lou Ashby?
Yeah, sure. He's some famous record producer, right? Rock and roll legend.
I'm writing a book on him.
Oh, good luck.
Yeah, I'm gonna need it because this guy's a cipher. You know, I can't get anywhere.
Well, then why do the research? Just print the legend. That's what people want to read, right?
Right.
One long rock and roll bacchanalia where the music never ends, the groupies never get older, and your dick never shrivels up and falls off from some unspecified venereal disease.
Wow, that was unkind to my dick.
I had to get you back for ruining my bush.
Well, I've known the guy for like 6 weeks now, and the only genuine moment I've had with him is when he told me about this woman that he never got over in a Mustang that wouldn't go in reverse. That's why I was snooping around your
I
house
think
today.
you'd have better luck finding the Mustang.
Why is that?
Because it actually existed, blue with gray interior.
And what about the girl?
Figment of Lou's imagination.
And she just walked off, right? She's difficult. She's hard to get. Hank's trying to get a story from a guy he's writing for, the rock star, and that's like the girl that got away. So he's trying to write more in that book, and she's making it difficult for him. Even one thing that she mentioned there when she said the getting all sorts of diseases to where your penis shrivels off.
Where the music never ends, the groupies never get older, and your dick never shrivels up and falls off from some unspecified venereal disease.
Wow, that was unkind to my dick.
I had to get you back for ruining my bush.
She was referring to her ex-boyfriend or husband or whoever, Lou Ashby, but Hank jumped in there and he was like, that's unkind to my dick. And right there, even that, he's showing social value there. Like, oh, she was talking about me because she knows I get with a lot of women. Even though she was talking about another guy, he stepped in there and now he's coming in with that, all right, I'm a player, I get other women type, attitude. And now there's that little you can feel some of the sexual undertones between them two.
Wow, that was unkind to my dick.
I had to get you back for ruining my bush.
Yeah, self-deprecating humor is something I tell guys to stay away from, but the way Hank did it there, flawless. Textbook gameplay right there.
And then now the next scene of this is after she walks away, he runs into her again here.
I have the biggest crush on her.
Okay, wait. So just so you guys that are listening to this, he sees that girl and she doesn't see him, and she's about to get in her car, and Hank just parked somewhere. And now he's gonna. I mean, I wouldn't suggest running in front of a car, but this is how Hank plays it off in this one. Is he's kind of pretending to move in front of her car so she hits him.
Oh my God, are you okay?
Jesus Christ, lady.
It just came out of nowhere.
Could have killed me. Looks like I'm gonna have to get your name for insurance purposes and whatnot.
Oh my God. You're that asshole. Why am I not surprised?
You know, it saddens me to think that when you have an internal dialogue about me, I'm that asshole and not that handsome stranger or that guy who made a mess of my bush, Hank Moody. It's nice to see you again, Mrs.
Jones.
Jones? Really?
Yeah.
After all this intrigue, that's kind of a letdown.
Janie Jones.
Oh, like the Clash song. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. I'm half chubbed. What do you say we forget about this whole vehicular manslaughter thing and I buy you a drink?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Hey, whoa. You know, I really thought that the threat of legal action was going to do it, but it looks like I'm going to have to employ my considerable powers of seduction. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
I got nothing. That's it. I'm out. No, tomorrow night in Venice, Marat. I'll be the one staring into the bottomless pit of despair. Get there early before I wet myself. Oh, yeah. Nailed it.
He negged her when he finally asked for her name. She told him her name, and it was kind of a letdown because he had all this intrigue that she would have this beautiful exotic name, and she gave her a name. She gave him a name, Jones, Janie Jones.
It's nice to see you again, Mrs.
Jones.
Jones? Really?
Yeah.
After all this intrigue, that's kind of a letdown.
So he teased her about that. A neg, backhanded compliment. That's how you engage with the woman emotionally. He had all this interest in her, and then it was kind of like, he kind of pulled it back, playing cat and mouse with her. But once again, he knew how to get her to laugh.
I liked that when she just was about to walk off after he basically said, hey, you know, we can forget about this hit and run that you just, you know, hit me with your car. You know, I'll take you out for a drink. And she still walks off.
What do you say if we forget about this whole vehicular manslaughter thing and I buy you a drink?
Yeah, I don't think so.
And he's like,
Whoa, whoa, whoa. You know, I really thought that the threat of legal action was going to do it, but it looks like I'm going to have to employ my considerable powers of seduction. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
he just sits there and does nothing. And then he goes, that's all I got.
I got nothing. That's it. I'm out.
He's not getting thrown off. He's still playing his game, his playful, witty game. And whatever she's throwing at him, he's not fazed. But also, you can see he's kind of pursuing her. He's jumping in front of her car. But then, like Czar mentioned, then all of a sudden, so he's kind of over pursuing her. And then he finds out her name and he's kind of like, ooh, that's a letdown. That is where if you're going to pursue a girl now, all of a sudden, boom, you pull back, you challenge her. So now you're in this fun, like Czar said, cat and mouse game instead of the simp who would continuously chase, get thrown off by her. Well, Hank is hunting right now. He's playing his game. He knows what he wants, and he's doing it in a charming way, but he's also not getting thrown off by her.
And notice his vocabulary once again, where she called him an asshole. She said, "You're that asshole. Why am I not surprised?" And once again, he responded with something that is genius.
You're that asshole. Why am I not surprised?
You know, it saddens me to think that when you have an internal dialogue about me, I'm that asshole and not that handsome stranger or that guy who made a mess of my bush, Hank Moody.
So once again, he's just going with the flow. So if a girl ever calls you an asshole, you could go along the lines and say, wow, you found another way of calling me charming. Or, you know, it saddens me to think that you have this internal dialogue about me. I'm that asshole and not that handsome stranger. Right? So come up with your own twist. But once again, these lines work. You always have to be prepared in case a woman does ever call you an asshole.
Oh, that's right. I still got it.
Am I too late? Did you already wet yourself?
And then she showed up on the date. She ended up meeting him out on that date.
She's beautiful, man. Oh, love that actress.
When we talk about difficult women, the first thing that my opinion on this is when I meet a difficult, or you call her a bitchy woman, my opinion is that most of these women are stuck in their hard masculine shell. They have like the masculine energy to them. And so they are hardened up. So in order for a girl to become less hard with you, you have to show strength. You can't retreat. You can't back down. And by you showing strength, that is when women can start to slowly melt away that harder exterior and get more into what we call her feminine. And even like Hank Moody did it there, he wasn't so like cold and hard about everything, but he wasn't getting phased by her. And that's the type of strength. He's pushing through even when she's throwing stuff at him. And that signals strength to a woman.
100%. And I think in today's environment, a lot more women are going to have that type of bitch shield, as you could call it. They're going to have that attitude because they've been hardened, whether they were going through something emotional, trauma, past relationships. So you're going to have to be able to break through that attitude by showing them your strength. You don't back down. You always remain in your frame. If she wants you to go inside of her frame, no. You take what she says, you spin it, and you make her enter your frame. And we're going to give you some examples on how to do that. Okay?
Yeah, and Czar, have we talked about frame much on here?
No, we haven't. And that could be a really great podcast.
Yeah, so maybe I'll just do a really simple version. When people go like, how do you stay in your frame? What I think of is my frame is my world, my opinions of myself, that is my energy, my aura, basically. So my frame, if my frame is I'm the prize, my frame is she's not going to throw me off. My frame is I'm just going to have fun and just play with her and just enjoy this experience, that is my frame coming in. Now, if her frame, if she has this worldview where she's the prize and she tells men what to do and she demands things of men and she expects them to submit to her orders, now, right, our frames are going up against each other. So by maintaining your frame, that means that whatever she throws at you, you're able to keep that worldview of yours, that I'm the prize mindset, and you're not letting what she does change your frame, your thought process, and how you're interacting with her. Because that's where there's like a battle now between frames. And when you have a strong frame as a man and a woman has a strong frame as a woman, it's a game of chicken. If the woman caves first, she submits and she's like, all right, fine, you win. Now she can start to thaw out from her cold exterior, and now she can warm up and get into her feminine. But if you're battling frame to frame and she keeps trampling over you and she makes you retreat, she makes you go, oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Yeah, that was wrong of me. Now her frame is taking over and now you're in her frame. So when you get into a woman's frame, that is when she will lose attraction and lose respect for you. And then she'll keep playing her game and kind of steamrolling you.
Perfect. Perfectly said. And two things happen. So when you enter her frame and you allow her to lead the interaction, you allow her to make you enter her world, what happens is it's similar to a cat just toying with a mouse. You're not going to win. But if you have her enter your frame at all times, you're the cat toying with the mouse. And that's the position you always want to be in. That's when they'll find you the most attractive. Yeah, that's when you'll find you the most attractive.
And it's good to know, too, that that's the position women want men in, too. They're not going to tell you this. They're not going to be overt and say, yeah, I want men. You know, very few women are self-aware enough to go, yeah, that is what I want. It's one of those things where they're not going to tell you the game. They want you to know the game as a man and be able to thaw out her cold exterior by not letting her change your frame.
Anyone you talk to, you always remain in your frame, which is your worldview as a man, like Adam explained. That's your reality. You're not jumping into anyone else's reality. Now, there was a story I want you guys to listen to. I always like to explain things with certain stories that I've been through. I was at this specific place and there was this beautiful blonde girl, and you could tell she was complaining about one of her exes who was such an asshole. I hate him. I can't stand him. So I started flirting with this girl. She was complaining about her ex to one of her close girlfriends. I started flirting with this girl, and the charm was there. Charisma with it was there. My game was on point. So we end up walking outside, and I could tell her best friend seemed like a cock block. She seemed like the biggest cock block because I believe she was actually interested in me. She didn't want me going after her friend. And girls will do this. They'll sabotage you guys. If she can't have you, no one can have you. That's how girls think, okay? They're group thinkers. So we go outside. I'm flirting with that blonde bombshell I wanted. And then her friend pulls up in her fucking pickup truck right next to us as I'm flirting with her friend. If a girl's driving a pickup truck, she's masculine. Number one, she's in her masculine. So you know you have a lot of bullshit to deal with. Now, when her friend pulls up, all of a sudden the blonde girl begins shit testing me even more. Because what do we tell you guys? Girls in groups, they will shit test you. They will tease you even more because now they have the protection of the females as a whole.
Yeah, they got strength in numbers.
They have strength in numbers. I noticed this. So when you're around a group of girls, be ready. They will shit test you even more if they find you attractive, if they perceive you to be a masculine alpha. I kept failing all these tests. I was flustered. It was coming at me like a machine gun. I didn't know how to handle myself. Right? So the blonde girl was talking to her friend out loud about me. He's cute. He's fuckable. So they were saying shit like that. Shit testing me. I couldn't pass any of it. Let's just say I fucking bombed. I completely bombed. I knew I could have banged. I could have probably banged both of them. I bombed both their shit tests, and I walked out of there with my tail tucked in between my legs, and they can sense that. I was entering their frame. So I went back and I made sure I took notes. Next time this happens, how do I respond? Right? So when she said, oh, he's cute, he's fuckable, I should have responded with, well, who says I want to fuck you? You know, that should have been my response. So that's why I tell you guys, you're going to encounter situations. You're not going to win all of them. This happened about, I think, 8 years ago, 7 years ago. So I was still learning the game. Now they can't get away with that bullshit with me. There's no way in hell they could. But I went back. I wrote everything down. How would I have handled that situation? I was up all night because it bothered me so much. If you love the game like we do, you'll be up all night trying to come up with lines because you will encounter that again. So I say that to say this. One of my czar laws, and you guys can pick up our courses, click on the link in the bio. One of the czar laws that I teach you guys is this. You will never win an argument with a girl verbally, only through a display of actions. So women are trained from birth to manage arguments and social interactions like a ninja. So you don't even try. If you have a disagreement, if you disagree with something she says, by all means, discuss it. Okay. But once she becomes very emotional, she starts yelling, throwing things, or crying and saying the mean shit intended to wound your soul, you must stop. A simple, you seem to be really upset. Why don't we talk about this later when you're able to communicate to me in a calmer manner? That will work. She will likely go ballistic, but this is where you lean back and you stay calm. No more discussion, none. You do not give her any more of your attention if she keeps giving you an attitude and arguing with you. Now, a woman expressing herself, if she's your girl, if she's expressing herself in a healthy way, because a lot of guys get this confused. They say, oh, your emotions don't count. Emotions aren't facts. Emotions aren't logic, whatever. That's an insult to a woman's intelligence, fellas. You are being disrespectful towards your women because women are going to express themselves. Even if you don't agree with what they're saying in a healthy manner, you still have to sit there and listen to them. That's like you trying to explain something to her and she tells you, oh, that's just stupid. Like, oh, your logic doesn't make sense. How would you feel? No, but she'll sit there. She might not agree with you, but she'll at least listen. Okay, so with the high quality feminine woman, you need to learn how to have a listening ear. But if she's arguing with you, acting pugnacious, being disrespectful, you don't engage. You pull your attention back. That's it. You pull your attention back.
Let's say you can dive into it, like Czar mentioned, but if you see that she is getting emotional or ready to have a fit or a temper tantrum, thing like that, that's when I can just look at her and smile and be like, all right, well, we can agree to disagree. And then I can move on to another topic. I can smile at her and just say, well, we can agree to disagree on this one. And then I can just move on and ask her something else and try to, diffuse the bomb. I'm not going to just try to make the bomb erupt right there. It's more of like, I'm like, all right, we can agree to disagree. Let's move on. And now I can start the conversation somewhere else if I see that she's getting heated. But there's a difference. If you guys have a different opinion, you're both kind of smiling about it and giving your sides, that can be fun. And you can just, discuss the different points of view. But if it's a topic that triggers her, then you can always do that. All right, we can agree to disagree and move on to another topic if you don't want to deal with a bomb out in public, basically.
And that's very important, Adam, because a lot of guys think that when their girl is giving them an attitude, even through text, and I'm sure this happened to you, and if I'm dating a girl and she's sending me paragraphs, giving me an attitude, I'm not even going to respond. So when I see them the following day or during that week, they'll bring that up. Hey, you never responded to my text. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't engage in bullshit or negativity. What are you signaling to that woman in that moment? If she wants your attention, she better not be giving you an attitude or sending you bullshit like that. And they won't do it again. So you're priming them, you're conditioning them to speak to you in a healthy manner. If you want to express yourself, no problem. If you want to talk to me like an adult, no problem. But I'm not engaging in negativity or gossip or drama. But a lot of guys will feed into that. They'll start sending the girl paragraphs and giving her more and more attention. So, and I think Tate said this, and he's absolutely correct. Now you're conditioning her to make her believe if she wants your attention, all she has to do is invite drama into your life. Is to send you nasty texts, give you an attitude, keep sending you paragraphs. Okay, whatever you feed ends up growing. So if she's giving you negativity and you keep feeding it, it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. But if you don't feed it, it stops.
Yeah. And there's a difference too in how this might come across is like if a girl, let's just say I'm hanging out with a girl and all of a sudden she flips out on me one day because she's like, you're a player, you're just using me for sex or something like that. And she's like accusing me and coming really negative, right? That's when I'll take Czar's approach and I just won't even text her back. I'll let her calm down. I'll let her rethink about what she sent. I'll let her have time, a few days to come back in with an apology. And then, because I'm not going to feed her negative attention. That's far different than a lot of girls that are trying to do it in a sweet way, but they're trying to express how they feel. So there'll be other girls that will be like, hey, Adam, I really like spending time with you. And I know you said you don't want a relationship, but I'm feeling like blah, blah, blah. I really like you. I want to spend time with you. And she's sending it in like a sweet way, but she's kind of airing out her dirty laundry, but she's not putting me down or aggressively attacking me. That's when I'll take that message and I'll be like, all right, I totally hear you. We can talk about this next time we're in person. And I'll just say something like that. So it's like, hey, all right, I hear you. Let's discuss this in person next time. So if she's coming in with negative, aggressive, accusing me energy, I just ignore it. And I let her realize that's not the way that you're going to get my attention. If she's communicating her feelings and she's not getting what she wants, but she's doing it in a sweet way, that's when I'll be like, hey, I totally understand. Let's chat about that in person next time. And then I could just say, when are you free next week? And all of a sudden she'll go, okay, blah, blah, blah. I can hang out Wednesday, Thursday. And I go, all right, I'll see you at Wednesday. Have a great weekend or whatever. We can talk about it then.
And Adam, that's a very great point. I want you guys to understand that most of you don't want to listen to what your feminine woman is trying to tell you. That is the worst thing you guys can ever fucking do. Ask me how I know, because I lost a girl that way who I thought I was going to be with forever. I always bring her up, that beautiful Polish girl. She was sending me clues and signs and expressing herself in a healthy way, trying to communicate to me. I didn't listen because I was taking all this other bullshit advice. I thought I just got it like that. She ain't going nowhere. I got this in the bag. Well, lo and behold, she did fucking go somewhere. She went to a guy that knew how to play his position and show her appreciation. So you guys want to play this, oh, I'm cold, I'm too cold, I'm heartless. You guys will never be able to keep a girl. You guys will never be able to keep a high-quality girl if you don't have a good listening ear. And that's very, very fucking important.
Yeah, it's a subtle difference, but it's a difference between her accusing you and being aggressive and basically making you out as the villain. That I don't respond to. I don't play back in that. That's bad self-awareness on her part. But her expressing her emotions because she wants to see me and she wants to spend more time with me and she wants to get more of my time and attention. Well, when she does it in a sweeter way, that's when I listen, I hear her, I make a note of that in my mind. Okay, she does need to hear. And then I'm more calm about it and just like we mentioned on the vulnerability podcast, right? Guys aren't supposed to express their vulnerability like women do openly and all that. But really what women want is a man that can allow her to express her emotional vulnerability. And these are those cases. Emotional vulnerability is when she's telling you, hey, I really want to spend more time with you. I want to know where this is going, all that. And she's being, like building you up on that. And she's just not getting her way. Well, you can listen to her, understand what she's saying. And that would be her expressing her emotional vulnerability. And now she's feeling safe expressing that with you. But if she were to say, hey, I really want to spend time with you and all that, and she's doing it in a sweet way, and you just totally ignore her or be like, stop being dramatic, that is when a woman will feel like, man, I don't feel like he's not allowing me to express my emotional vulnerability. And that's when women get upset by saying, guys aren't listening. They're not caring about my emotions. There's a fine line between the two.
So when a woman tells you guys, and this is all in my ebook as well, make sure you guys check out our courses if you want to master the texting game, the dating app game, or if you guys want to master the inner game, understand the beautiful language of women. So when they ask women, what's the most important thing in a relationship? What's the most important thing in a relationship? What's the most important thing in a relationship? What does nearly every fucking woman always say? Communication, communication, communication. What do they mean by that? Because women speak covertly. They mean emotional communication. They want a guy who has emotional intelligence. You are a good listener. You're receptive to the way she's expressing herself. That's what they mean, fellas. So if you don't know how to master that, it's going to be very difficult for you to keep a woman. No matter how annoying they could be, like, oh, I don't want to hear this anymore. You have to listen. They want a man that knows how to listen. Okay.
And they want a man that can figure out her secret language without telling you. And that's part of
Exactly.
it is piecing together her indirect ways of her basically saying, "Hey, I need more attention from you. I need like if you can piece together what she's saying from her emotional stance and you're like, "Okay, I understand what she's saying." And then you can go, "Hey, great, I hear you. Let's talk about this in person." Something like that where you can hear and you can allow like you can piece together what needs to be going on. You're like, all right, I got to tiptoe around this one. That is what women want. They want you to be able to read between the lines of what she's trying to say so that she doesn't have to spell it out for you.
So the second czar law that I have over 30, but this is very important when it comes to this topic. A lot of guys get this confused. She doesn't have to like you to fuck you, fellas. She doesn't have to like you to fuck you. I have been bold and brazen, literally picking a heated verbal sparring match, not an argument. I was just pushing her buttons to heat up a girl who wouldn't even talk to me. She got pissed, started calling me names and getting very verbally abusive. At that point, I told her I knew if I can get past that bitch shield you have up, I would see the real you. Pause. Now that bruises their ego. That bruises their ego. When they start getting verbally abusive, they start calling you names. You respond with, I knew if I can get past that bitch shield you have up, I would see the real you. You say it exactly like that. A backhanded compliment, a neg, and perfect pattern interrupt to be sure. She halted, I held my frame, and she melted. I had her that evening with that one line I told you. So stop trying to make a girl like you. You don't have to get them to like you, fellas. The opposite of love is indifference, not hate. Hate means she doesn't like you at the moment, but she will still fuck you. Go back to Hank Moody, right? Did she seem like she liked him? No. Did she still want to sleep with him? Yes. This is what we're talking about, fellas. Okay. He gave her a backhanded compliment, that neg. Oh, that's kind of a letdown after all this intrigue. That's your name, Janie Jones, really? You see what I mean? So there's a science to this. You have to learn the art form of how to do it. Now, you're not being malicious. You're not calling her a bitch. You're just telling her, I knew if I can get past that bitch shield you have up, I would see the real you. There's a big difference. You never want to call a girl the B word, number one. Okay, because you're out of line, you're getting in your emotions, and it's how you say it, fellas.
Yeah, and kind of what you were basically saying between, under the layers, basically in women language that they can pick up is I knew if I could get past your bitch shield, your hard exterior, your hard masculine energy, that deep down there's that feminine side in you that I want, that it's trapped in there basically. So you're basically saying, I knew if I could get past that hard exterior, there was more to you. And all women want to feel in their feminine, right? But again, because of how society's set up, that women are boss ladies, women are the prize, women empowerment, women actually get trained, just like men get trained these days to become more in their feminine, express your emotions, share, communicate, share everything you can with your partner, all that stuff. Well, women are programmed the same way, but they're programmed to have that icy masculine layer. So when you're able to say something like that, she can relate. She can understand that because that's how she feels. She's like, yeah, I know I have this hard energy, but I don't want to have this hard energy up. But she has this hard energy up because she hasn't found strength in a man that allows her to go, okay, finally there's strength here. Now I can thaw out and let my feminine side come up. That's actually something that I'll do with difficult women. And we talk about this, guys, in Players University. In week 9 to 12, we talk about advanced psychology. In week 12, we talk about shaping women and how to create dynamics you want in your relationship, how to create the qualities you want in women. So what I want to do is I want to praise, shape women to become more sweet, especially difficult women. She's in this harder exterior shell. I want her to get rewarded for opening that shell up to me and show me that warmth. So if a girl is like being really difficult, hard, cold, and then all of a sudden she smiles or laughs or she says something sweet or compliments you, that's when, just like Czar mentioned there, if I could just get past that shield, I'll say something like, see, I like your sweet side. I knew it was in there somewhere. And now she's going, oh, okay. She's getting a little recognition, like I can open up and be a little sweeter or warmer with this guy. Now she's actually loosening up. She's warming up to me. And now she's a little bit more ready. She's going to come out with a little less of that aggressive masculine energy. And now she's going to go, okay, it is safe for me to open up that sweeter side.
Yeah, you're rewarding her. Ah, I knew you had a soft side inside of you. You're like a coconut type of girl. I knew it. You have a hard exterior, but you're soft on the inside. You're a softie. How can you tell if she likes you? So when a girl is talking with you without telling you to leave, that means she likes you. An employee or someone at work doesn't count. Okay, I want to make that distinguish. What word am I looking for? I want to make that.
Yeah, that distinction.
Distinction. There it is. I want to make that distinction. Okay.
Yeah, a waitress, a bartender, a service person, a hooker. You know, them being around you does not mean that they like you. They're getting paid to be sweet and pleasant to you. So that's the distinction he's making.
Yeah, if you aren't being asked to leave immediately, or if she doesn't respond with sorry, have a boyfriend, okay, then you have an opportunity. I have taken the most hostile shit test from a girl I just met and turned it around into a loving one-night stand relationship. We all love those relationships, the one-night stands. I know. So one of my lines, and I don't advise you guys use this line, but it also depends how you use it. Sometimes I like trying different lines, different materials. So remember, it's how you say it and the attitude behind it. Doesn't matter what you say to a girl. So I approached her and I said, hey, are you single? She would respond with, why are you talking with me? I responded with, I always enjoy sampling the hostile attitude. She calls me an asshole. You're an asshole. I say, thank you. You found another way of calling me a charming, handsome man. Like we talked about with Hank Moody, right? You found another way of calling me a charming, handsome man. Misinterpret what they say, fellas. That's very powerful. Do you always compliment men so fast? I can tell you love me already. Her, slight smile. Pretty full of yourself, aren't you? Me, keep intense eye contact. Lean in a little and talk a little lower and respond with, and dangerous. So when she said, pretty full of yourself, aren't you? I'm keeping the intense eye contact with her. I'm not breaking that sexual tension yet. I'll lean in a little, lower my voice, and I'll say, and dangerous. That's how you guys handle a woman's attitude, okay? Now, I know 100% this isn't anything like the answer you were looking for, right? Usually guys look for indicators of interest. You hear about choosing signals. You know, is she flipping her hair while tilting her head 32 degrees to the left while touching your arm and smiling anytime she answers? Listen, as long as you are confident and can calibrate the interaction, then just assume the sale. Assume she likes you. You are confident enough. You don't have to worry about when to kiss a girl or touch her or escalate. You just lead and the rest of her will follow. This is what being confident and alpha is all about. Not every woman is going to be polite to you. And if you have the gumption and balls to tease her back in a charming and cocky way, these end up being the best women I have ever slept with, fellas. I promise you. These are the best women because you feel as if, you know what, I earned this. Like a king, like a lion that sleeps with a lioness, right? He fights off 3 other lions because you had to get through that bitch shield. You remained in your masculine frame. These women that you sleep with that you can game, they're worth so much more. because a lot of guys think it's a harder pickup, but it's not if you can remain in your masculine frame. Not everyone will like you, regardless of how alpha, masculine, charming, charismatic, smooth, rich, or any other adjective you can think of you are. You won't be everyone's cup of tea, exactly like I'm not every girl's type. Maybe you're a BMW and she's looking for an Audi.
Another way that I think about this with difficult women is, there's two different scenarios for this. One is that you're just one-on-one with a girl talking to her on a date with her and she's difficult. But other scenarios are group settings. Like Czar mentioned, when girls are in a group setting, they're going to feel more comfortable being harder to get and saying what's on their mind. And just because even on like social media, right, women can say some crazy stuff and they'll get praise from women and a lot of simp guys. And so they feel like they can get away with saying anything. So if I'm in a group setting and there's women that are difficult, ways that you can stand out and make them get intrigued by you, again, you have to show strength. These women are used to men folding to them. So you got to show strength. So if I'm in a scenario and we're at a table or whatever, and I'm just bored. I'm just bored. They're having some boring discussion, something like that. Well, one way that I can show strength is in the leadership idea of like, I'm not going to just sit here and wait for someone else to follow. I will stand up and I'll be like, all right, guys, let's go do something. Let's get a game going. Let's go play darts. And I'll lead an interaction and just step out. I'm not afraid to just, everyone's sitting around, 12 people having this boring conversation. I'm like, guys, let's go. Let's have some fun. Or I'll go, all right, let's start a drinking game. Let's get this party going. And those little things make you stand out to these difficult women because they're like, okay, all right, there's something there. This guy's like ready to take the lead. He's ready to make something happen. And that can intrigue these women a little bit. But another way that this will come up is, especially if you're going out with, there's maybe some relationships in the group. There's boyfriend, girlfriends, or husbands and wives, or there's people that have significant others at home. And if we're at a table and some women start to complain, like maybe a woman complains about her boyfriend or her husband that's not there. And she says, can you believe this? And she's telling this story and all the girls like, oh my gosh, that's so messed up. And like some of the other guys are agreeing like, yeah, you shouldn't have done that. Well, ways that I stand out then, like I don't know this guy at all. I don't care about the girl that has this boyfriend, whatever, is I'll literally just jump in and take the contrarian view just to show my strength. I'll say something like, nah, I'm on this guy's side. That's way too much drama. I can't believe you're putting this guy through that. Where when everyone else has the voice, it's like, well, I don't want to get on the wrong side of these women. They're in this group masculine energy. That's when I will completely just throw a wrench into things and be like, no, this guy sounds cool. I like this guy. I don't think he did anything wrong. That's way too much drama. You should go home, tell him you appreciate him, how lucky you are to have him. I don't think this guy did anything wrong. And I will be the one that's like, whoa, he just said that. No one else was willing to say that. And that right there gets these difficult or bitchy women to start to kind of look at me. And they might look at me like a vulture on meat, like, oh, I'm going to test this guy, but I have no problem handling that stuff. But by saying stuff like that, I now stand out from the group. And then later throughout the night, when these girls come up and challenge me, that's when I just play it cool, keep my frame. I don't get thrown off by these women. But that can be a way that I've had that in group situations where these, difficult women, it's like, yeah, I'm not into that girl or whatever, but I say something controversial. And now these girls are looking for a challenge. So now throughout the night, they're kind of trying to find me and just seeing if they can get a rise out of me. They're like, okay, that guy was strong. And now she's going to test, is this guy really strong? But now I'm separating myself out from the beta pack. And now I have a target on my back in a good way.
I love that. I love being in groups with women because I know I can pass every single shit test that they throw at me, and I've been there before. So they might say something like, oh, you probably have a little dick. And I've had girls say this in groups of other girls because, once again, they're more brazen. They have the pack of the women. So I always tell guys, respond with, how did you know? You're actually right. It's the size of a Tic Tac. But at least they'll freshen your breath, though. Now, all the other girls are laughing. Like, wow, this dude is cool. Okay, he knows how to handle himself. Indifference, go with the flow, double down on it. But If a girl is really giving you an attitude, I have some lines that I prepared that I still use to this day. So if she's getting angry, mad, or upset at you, you can call her out for it. Oh, you're so adorable when you get angry. You're so adorable when you get mad or upset. I could see you turning red right now. Oh, you're so cute. Right? So go with the flow. You're making it, you're being lighthearted, you're being playful. Okay, that helps them get out of their shell as well. That's another great tactic. Another one is, are you always like this around charming and handsome men? You must be out of practice. Right? You must be out of practice. When was the last time you talked to such a sexy guy before? That's if they're giving you an attitude, they're getting mad, they're getting upset. So you can call them out on it once again in a charming way. Another line I love saying is, wow, someone woke up on the wrong side of bed. Or, who lit the fuse on your tampon this morning? That's one of my favorite lines. And you could just throw this one in. Don't worry, sweetie, you're not my type. I like him older and handicapped. The Hank Moody line. Just disarm them, break their ego a little bit. Like, don't worry, you're not my type. I'm only into fat white chicks. Yeah, that's my new thing now. It's 2024. You know, it's the new fad. I heard it's in dating fat white chicks. So that's a couple of ways. If you guys know how to say it correctly, you can get her to smile. You can at least get her to smile and break that tension.
Yeah, and something that I run into a lot when I meet, because I go on a lot of dates with girls I meet on dating apps, where we know that they're on dating apps, so they've gone on a lot of dates. So I've had women that I'll show up with, and again, they'll have this difficult energy, this masculine energy. And I'll play along with it. Like, I'm not going to get out of my frame, whatever. I'll just let the conversation go a little bit. But at some point, if she's like difficult, I'll just say something like, let me guess. You wear the pants with most men you meet, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
And that right there is it is kind of like it's like a prediction, but it's also like women don't really know how to take that. Because on one hand, women might go, yeah, that's right, I wear the pants because that's that female empowerment. But on the other hand, they kind of know that that's not what they really want to do, is wear the pants in a relationship. So I'll say stuff like that to girls, and a lot of times that will pin them straight on, and she'll look at me and like laugh or smile, and she's like, yeah, how did you know? Something like that. And then that's when I'll just laugh and I'll be like, hey, that's definitely not my style, but I have some really nice guy friends that I think you'd have a really good time controlling and dominating if you want me to give them a call. And I'll literally say something like that. And now I'm disqualifying myself by saying, hey, I got some pushover buddies that you'll have so much fun controlling if you really want. That's not my style, but I can hook you up if you want. And so now I'm making myself, hard to get. I'm a catch. I'm allowing her to go with some other guy. And I'm basically telling her like, oh yeah, wearing the pants. That's not my thing to let girls wear the pants in the relationships, but I know plenty of guys that I can hook you up with. But the thing is, so does she. She knows plenty of guys that will let her wear the pants too. And she doesn't like any of those guys. So by me saying something like that, a lot of times that girl kind of gets put back, and then she can start to feel like she's kind of like, oh, wait, this guy wouldn't let me wear the pants. And now he's trying to set me up with some other guy. Why? Why not? And now she's getting a little self-conscious. Like, I don't really know where to play it. But that's kind of a way that I'll lay down and basically tell her, hey, I'm a strong man that wears the pants in the relationship, without being that guy that's like, yeah, I'm the strong man that wears the pants in relationships. I'm saying the same thing, but I'm doing it covertly in women language so that they can read into and understand what I'm saying without being so confrontational about it.
Adam, I'll take that one even further. I'm gonna up the ante on that one. So when you ask a girl that's brilliant. Let me guess, you wear the pants in the relationship, don't you? Or you've worn the pants in most of your relationships, don't you? Most girls will smile and admit that because, like you said, they want that sense of empowerment. So after she agrees to what I say, I'd like to disqualify her. This is exactly why it would never work out between us. We'd always be bumping heads. I would put you in your place. You would never get what you want from me.
Yeah,
and that
that's
just
a great way to go with it.
That just wouldn't work out. Right.
Yeah,
and watch her
you give her a little smile at that,
Yep.
and that's that challenge. You'll see it light up in her eyes, where she'll be like, oh, wait a second. No, this will work out. You just wait and see. Like, you'll see that switch go off in her brain where she's like, wait, You're disqualifying me? Wait a second. No, you will. You will want me. You will. You'll see
Yeah.
that possession come over her eyes when you say something like that to her.
I'll go even further. I'll tell her how much of a douchebag I am. Yeah, it would just never work out between us. I'm too much of a douchebag. I'll break up with you on Valentine's Day if you give me an attitude. I'll never put the toilet seat down. And if you really piss me off, I'll use your friends to get you jealous.
Yeah, that one
Now
will.
you're disqualifying yourself and her. And she's like, wait a minute. Like, no guy, it's such a mind fuck. It's a pattern interrupt.
Yep. You're basically displaying yourself as the Ice King from Game of Thrones, the most iciest guy ever. Like, she can't out ice you. She can't out masculine you. She can't out strength you because you're disqualifying everything she's gonna say. And you're like, yeah, no, it wouldn't work out. I wouldn't put up with any of that. Nah, I'll do this to you. I'd drive you crazy. It's probably best that we just, have a couple beers and go on our ways, and you can laugh and smile at her with that. But inside, internally, that is totally flipping the script in her body of going, what just happened? I've got to figure more out about this guy because this is really interesting now.
Yeah, I wouldn't even sleep with you because I know I'd ruin your life. So you can even go further with it. Now she's really thinking about you. Okay, but I'm surprised a lot of guys don't use that line. I use it all the time. Disqualify yourself.
Another one that I will do with the one-on-one scenario, I'll even look at her and laugh, and I'll be like, so what are your thoughts on happy wife, happy life?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll let her open ended that one and see where she takes it, because I'm probably going to disagree with her. Like if she's like, yeah, I think that's how every guy should do. Happy wife, happy life. Guy, blah, 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 all that. If a guy makes me happy, he does all this for me, then I'll be happy and I'll treat him right. And then that's when I'll just like laugh and I'll shake my head. I'll be like, nah, that's weak. Grown-ups should be responsible for their own happiness, not someone else's. So I'll just like laugh at her and just shake my head like, nah, I disagree. You're putting your happiness on some other person. No, you're an adult. We're adults. I think that we should all be, in charge of our own happiness. So that's another way of where I'm basically setting up a trap for her so that I can disagree and show my strength.
Yeah, or another one is you have the most horrendous personality ever, but you still intrigue me for some reason. Right? So you're giving her a backhanded compliment, but then you're kind of boosting her up a little bit. That's how you destroy a woman's ego that has that hard exterior. You don't keep acting nice. You don't keep appeasing her. Don't kiss the floor she walks on. That's going to just make it worse because she sees you as a weakling, as a noodle. I like that term, as an undercooked man. So the point of all this, and I'm going to end it with this, Adam, unless you want to add whatever
I'll
you
just have one last thing to end it with after that.
Yeah. So it's all about your attitude. If you act like a Neanderthal and you look like Johnny Depp, that equals tons of pussy. But if you look like a Neanderthal and you act like a super duper scared of his shadow nice guy, that equals you are just going to be friends, or the infamous ick feeling from every woman. So it's the attitude, and obviously take care of yourself. Don't be out of shape. Get my workout program or join our seminar next month if you want to get all of our programs included for free, because you don't have to be the best looking guy. You need to have the attitude, and you have to at least be fit. You have to at least be fit. No girl takes a fat, out of shape man seriously. And the more time you spend at the gym, you'll notice the more women you can get, the better sex you're going to have.
And the way that I'll kind of sum this up again with the attitude is, if you really think of the dynamic of how you would respond in all sorts of situations with difficult women, of thinking of the daughter that can get away with murder from her mom, but she goes to her dad, and the dad puts his foot down. He's like, nah, you're not going to get away with that. And he can laugh about it or whatever, but that dad is the one that has the boundaries. So with women, right, they're used to getting what they want and everyone kind of taking their side. So when you can have that energy of like, you're that adult figure that she's going to try to get away with all sorts of shenanigans, but she might do this and run to mommy, and mommy says, that's okay. You're so sweet. Oh, I can't believe that. But she runs to dad, and dad's like, nah, you were in the wrong there. I don't agree with that one. But he can still have that gentle fatherly energy. But that's kind of how I think about difficult women, is they're just going to keep pushing the boundaries when people let them. But once they run up into that guy that's just like, nah, that's cute that you can get away with that with most guys. That doesn't work on me type energy. That is that strength in the father figure that women will always respect when that guy has that masculine energy. So when you're on your dates, you're that gentle fatherly figure that just sits back, and she's kind of amusing you with her temper tantrums. She's amusing you like with thinking she's gonna get away with this type of stuff. It might be like the daughter falls and scrapes her knee, and the mom runs and goes, "Oh my gosh, are you okay? That must have hurt so bad." All that. Where if that daughter ran and scraped her knee with me, I just pick her up and be like, you're okay. There's no reason for tears. You're a strong girl. You got this. And so it's just that subtle different energy where you're not letting her get away with the things that she's used to getting away with in her everyday life. And you can still do it with that gentle masculine energy. It doesn't have to be so cold, direct, and like calling her out, but it can be of that, like, you've got that boundary. She can feel it. And now you're just not letting her push your boundaries. You're not letting her get away with stuff that she gets away with most guys.
Yeah, the quickest and cheapest way to establish that you are high value and that you are the prize is two things. By having boundaries, having a backbone as a man, and two, being able to say no. No is a woman's kryptonite. Never be afraid to tell a woman no. If she tells you to do something, she wants you to be compliant, hand me this, you say no. I don't take orders. Always say no. Remember Rosa Parks. It worked for her. It'll work for you too. So the best way that I learned to become better with women was to give up that nice guy act and begin saying no. It's difficult at first, especially when you are that nice guy. You grew up being that nice guy with all these bullshit ideologies. It's very difficult because you don't want to seem like a dick. That was my hardest obstacle to overcome, was being able to say no to women. I'm not your doormat. But the second I started saying no and I started setting boundaries, the women just flocked right in. They wanted me even more. So I know it works, fellas. I know it works.
Yep. She's used to just kind of free ranging around, exploring her life in every way. She can go to this corner and that, and she can get away with this and that. And when she meets you, she's trying these things she's used to, but all you're doing is basically putting up these walls and creating this little house for her that she can actually feel safe and comfortable in this house because she now knows the boundaries. Before, she was exploring this big, scary world where she could go anywhere and get away with anything. And that's not going to make a girl feel safe. So the more she explores around, now she meets you and there's a wall up here. And now she's learning this is the boundary of the house. And you can do it gently, but you're just creating these boundaries around her. And now you're creating this house for her to live in where she's actually going to feel safe and comfortable because she finally has like, wow, okay, there's some protections here for me. Like, I'm safe inside of this house versus going out in the world and getting everything she wants. And, you know, she can make a wrong step anywhere she goes. But now you're building this safe little house for her to feel comfortable in just by putting up your boundaries and not letting her get away with stuff.
And that's something we teach you guys in our seminar, is to write down a set of codes that you live by, your boundaries, your codes, because me and Adam have a set of codes and we don't negotiate with terrorists. No one breaks our codes. And the second you start writing those down and you implement them, you live by them, you start changing as a man. You begin having principles. You begin growing a backbone and building your armor up. Okay, so make sure you join the Players University. Shout out to the member. We're going to keep it anonymous, but shout out to the member that wanted us to do this podcast. Awesome topic. We challenge everyone else who wants to join the Players University, where you can bring in your screenshots of text messages, your dating app pictures, what you need help with. You have two of the best in the game right now. We can teach you inner game if you just got out of a relationship, if you're going through a bad breakup, divorce, you need help with your girlfriend, your relationship, you need help getting girls, whatever the case may be, we got you guys. You can have access to us 24/7 with homework assignments and with video modules that you guys will get, where we teach you that certified G game. And look out for the next seminar coming up. Thank you to everyone that is part of the seminar right now. Awesome group of people. Week 3, They're learning so much. Or is it
Yep.
week 4?
We're
Week
about to be on week 4 now.
Week 4.
So we're going to talk about, kissing women and getting more sexual. And then we're going to get into all the advanced psychology the week after that. But yeah, and guys, those of you listening to this that are in the Players University, part of this too is like any podcast you listen to and you're like, oh, he said something and I didn't quite get it. I really want to ask a little question about this, or man, they started talking about this and I thought they were going to cover the question I had, but then they went a different direction. That's the perfect opportunity too for the Players University. Literally go on and be like, hey, I just listened to episode 11 and you guys talked about this and this, but I had a question about that. And now we're going in there going, great. Well, this is what we want. We want to clarify things. We want, if you guys hear us say something, you're like, well, maybe that was a contradiction. I heard you guys say this other thing before, and now you said this. We're like, awesome. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Now we're going to dive in and explain those two so that you really understand them.
And if you guys have good situations that you're in, you want us to answer it, you can email us. But the people that are part of the Players University, they'll always get first dibs. Yes. So thank you guys so much. We'll see you on the next episode.
All right. Take care, guys. See you next week.